I'm Sheri, or also known as Betty. I started blogging about 4 years ago. I originally decided to start blogging because I was finishing up uni, and being dyslexic, I found that I couldn't get a job in what I wanted to do, and I didn't want to be one of those people who just ended up working and doing something just because there was nothing else to do. I want to enjoy what I do, and I've seen the effects that not enjoying your job can have on you. So when I couldn't get a job in PR, I decided to just go with my second love, which was fashion. So I started working in retail with the Vivienne Westwood store in Princess Square. And because obviously it was mostly talking, blethering, what I also do quite well, I decided to then start up a blog together with a vintage shop that I had on the side. So that ended up being called Betty Swallocks. Now, everyone would kind of wonder why you would call something Betty Swallocks, and the reason was my big pet hate was going into vintage shops and seeing obviously pre-mark clothes, just with the labels cut off, and like, yeah, this is totally a 60s shift. Not in my watch. So the whole premise of Betty was that I would write a little story, and I would tell you where Betty was, who she was with, just a little bit about what I felt that I got from the item of clothing. So after the story, people would be like, "Oh my God, did somebody really wear this with Andy Warhol?" And she do 54? And I'm like, "No, it's not. It's Betty Swallocks. Like, talking complete Betty Swallocks." So from that, I realised with vintage shops that everyone was starting to get on the blogging scene. So I thought I would just write. If I don't continue to write, I will literally forget how to write. So BettySwallocks.net was born BettySwallocks.blogspot was born. And when I look back at my blog, originally I cringe just even thinking about it, just the type of content that I would write, and it was really, really terrible. Then when social media really started to kind of coming off strong, I obviously was really wanting to kind of get on that bandwagon and utilise the massive audience that was out there to bring traffic to my site. And kind of the game changer was when Instagram came out, and that for me, I found was just the platform that just spoke to me. I'm so much more of a visual person. Images just speak to me, and I love kind of coming up with my own story in my head. So I started off 173 weeks ago on Instagram, and it was originally the platform that I used for this charity fundraiser that I started with my co-worker B, which was 1 month, 1 dress, where I raised money for the charity SAMA, the mental health charity. And it was basically, I wore 1 dress for an entire month, and look, I washed it, don't worry, and styled it up in different ways for the whole month of February. And so that was just when Instagram first started, and so the outfit of the day hashtag hadn't really picked up momentum yet. So I was really chuffed if I got to 10 likes. I would be properly celebrating to myself if I just see when I see the 9, and I would just double tap it myself just to take it to 10, that looks great. We pat in the back, and I kind of didn't really know, when I look back at my first images, I seem to just love a filter, really love a filter in every filter, and also, blurring the background and really going quite mental with it. And it's very strange when you see the progression of your own work change, when you look at something and you just think, oh, why did I do that? Why, that just doesn't look good. And so I kind of thought that when I was opening up the business with B, really at the end of the day, the blogs are the thing that's going to bring us business, and if we brand ourselves in a way that that we're relatable, that also hit the business. So I thought, what is it that draws people to me in the first instance? And that is orange. So, my big thing, I think, for anyone who's starting off Instagram, where you need to start off at is your title. Paper. You can tell I'm not a Mac user. So really, like, where you need to start off is make sure you have a description that fits you. Like, some people like to, talk about a full thing of like what they do, what they like. But for me, I like to kind of keep it pretty broad because I like everything. I'm a magpie. I love a lot of things. So I decided to just make the main focus is orange emojis, because if there's one thing that you'll always find on my Instagram, it's orange. So I said my name's Betty, Scottish fashion and lifestyle blogger, Betty B, and my location, which is Glasgow. My contact and my website. Really, that's the main information that you should be telling people. As soon as they go onto your feed, they should know, who are you, where are you, what do you do, and what's this about? So once you've got that established, you think about, like, so that's explained you then, I would recommend that you kind of start thinking about your theme. Like, everything, if someone's first coming onto your Instagram, you need to kind of figure out, if someone's just flicking, if there's something really disjointed about it, then the eye doesn't naturally flow down. So you want people to compel to see what you're doing next. So I have chosen, I still love a filter. I don't care what anyone else says. Everybody says, like, oh no, but like, stats say that, like, non-filtered photographs are the most liked pictures on it. Shut up. Like, do what you want, do what feels right for you, and be your authentic self. That's exactly what people want on Instagram. They want to get to know you, your identity, what you're about. So I have particular filters that I like that just, ups the orange in everything. So I tend to use the same 2 to 3 filters on everything. And even if it is just used and turned right the way down, it still needs to have that slight cohesive theme going on. So choose your filters. Timings, I'd say, is really, really important. You've got to think about, when are you on your phone? When, like, people, like, where are the people who are liking your things? Like, where are they placed in the world? Are they in the same time zone as you? Or, when should you post? Personally, I think that you shouldn't post on Instagram more than 3 times a day. That's just a personal thing. It doesn't work for everybody. I know some, like big brands, I think it's different. Like, if you've got like a massive clothing label or something like that, then that's slightly different. But for a personal Instagram, I would say that 3 times a day, it's like your main food groups. It's like, your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner. So, like, there's my dinner for tonight, pretty much. I like to choose pictures that reflect me as a person and also, like, my interests and things. Like, so if we take a wee flip down. So as you can see, like, my blow up doll, some people were asking me on Twitter and everything, like, why, like, I lost 10 followers because of that blow up doll. I'll have you know. But I just think that it's like, if me and Lucille Ball had a love child, and it was so camp. And I actually found it on, it was at London Fashion Week, and it was on this Gareth Pugh mood board, and it was one of my favourite shows from London Fashion Week, and I just saw it and I was like, because I'm kind of known for my pose, I thought, oh, it's like me. Yeah, so Mum didn't like it. So what I tend to do as well is that, like, I try to kind of mix it up and not only use the content I create, but find things that inspire me. Like, that's not just for designers or, like, brands. You need to try and tell people about your personality through pictures, and so that just doesn't need to, like, stop and start at your face. So, like, I am a big fan of, like, surrealism and art, so I like to post some quite funny pictures there, and, like, I'm a big lover of food, melting faces. Does anyone remember the cabbage puppets? So what I tend to do is if I see something that I really love, like whether it be someone else has posted something, I'll screenshot it for later, whether it to be reposted like directly on my Instagram, or maybe I just really enjoyed a composition of the way someone put something together, and I'm like, there was a girl that posted a pair of shoes, and it looked as if she was like kicking some sort of like rubbish and like her leaves and things. And I was like, that's nice, and I screenshotted it just for the next time I get a new pair of shoes. I want to maybe try and recreate something similar in my own way. And so it's like you don't need to be shy to like pretty much take inspiration from anybody or anywhere. Like it's everybody does it. Anyone doesn't, they're lying. Quality definitely beats quantity. Like as I said, that like I tend to post like 2 to 3 times a day, but if I don't have anything good to put up, I won't just put up something as a filler, because you will end up losing followers from that. And if it's not cohesive or fits into like what you usually do, it's just not worth it. So it's good to be really consistent. That like encourages that organic flow. People always like, it's like going home, it's like you always know how it feels, and it's just that kind of homely feel. It's lovely. 2 things that I think that other apps that people should definitely download for helping with your Instagram is Iconosquare and the Followers app. I use these both on a daily basis to monitor how my Instagram works. So Iconosquare tells me what pictures have been popular, how many have had the most comments, what users comment me the most, what users did comment on me and did really like things, but then have now left me. And so I can try and figure out why, what stage, so you can really analyze it and figure out how you're going to move forward. Whereas Followers, once you reach 10k, you don't actually know what number you're on. So Followers will tell you your exact number of what you're on, and on a daily basis who you've lost, who you've gained, who you follow but don't follow back, and vice versa. So you can kind of keep tabs on that. So if you're following someone and you've been Instagram friends for a year, and then all of a sudden they've stopped following you, it's like, hey bitch, what's happened? So, which has happened. So, I love to, I met this girl here, Pip. She's my Instagram soul sister. We met through the love of orange. She basically Insta-stalked me and just was putting tons of oranges on lots of pictures. And I was like, who is this girl? She's talking my language. Went on, literally done one wee scroll through feed, and all I saw was orange. I'm like, follow! This girl's amazing. I love her. And then after a couple of months, we ended up meeting up, and now we're literally the best of friends, and she's actually moving to Glasgow, next month. So you really don't know who you could meet. You could meet a friend for life, you don't know what could be happening. So we literally see each other once a month. We talk every day. And we've had quite a lot of people draws together, and we've even got our own hashtag, the Tangerine Queens, which I really love. At Pet Jolly, by the way, if you want to follow her. So it's really good to tag people, because then they'll be resharing, as Tom said, these, if you tag and actually talk to these people, not only tagging the person you're with, but also people who might be really interested in it. If it reminds you of someone, then tag them, so you never know, they might share it or tweet it, or in some sort of way anyway. So some tips that I would give is that you need to make sure that you've got, first I'll say, whenever I go, I always take pictures for the bank. if I'm walking down the street and I see something orange, like I've just got a radar, I can pick it out at anywhere. I see orange everywhere. And so I zone in on it and I take a picture. But you basically have to be quite strategic with it, and think about when you're taking the picture. Sometimes you won't be in the same frame of mind as when you're actually going to post it. So what I'm a really big fan of is creative cropping, and I find creative cropping like really useful because like see the likes. Well, this picture here was a hot mess. And it was, I had like, half of a bar in it, and there was like, things that weren't orange in it. And so I just like zoned into the area that I wanted to talk about, which was the oranges. So like, don't just think about that one picture as a whole. Like, have a play around with it and see, like this image here. I took this from the Holly Fulton Instagram. It was the full picture of the girl, and when I kind of looked at what my feed was like, I was just like, she's in the background. It's got like it's quite dark, and I like to have a really bright background. So I just zoned into the area that I really wanted, and I love this collar. And I always find that kind of slightly asymmetric framing seems to work well with me, and so I wanted to keep it cohesive with my feed, so had it that slightly off centre. So like kind of creative cropping. So same with like this picture here. This was taken by our part-timer in work, and she's just like, but I'm not a photographer. I'm like, neither am I. It's fine. It's terrible. It's so terrible. And so I had to figure it out because I wanted to show the fringing, so I had to just like once again zoom in, making sure that there was a flash of orange there to keep it in the feed. Experiment, and you'll find your style with time. So main things to think about: the right crop. I'm really anal about getting things straight. See this shot? I must have like given away all my secrets about. So I was dying here, and just imagine I have this mane over the bath while with my phone, getting the drips of the orange going in while my phone's getting soaking. My flatmate's going, "Are you alright?" Because all I can hear is screaming coming from the bathroom. And I'm taking tons of pictures, and they're all like all over the place because I'm just getting water everywhere, getting dye all over the bathroom, and then I finally get it, and it's this big ski whiff thing. So luckily now, Instagram's app is getting better and better with every update. Like it's like the filters are great, the actual photo editing is really improving, but I am extremely anal about getting all the lines straight. And I'm not the only one who's anal about this. And even like things like this, just making sure that the eye is drawn down in the right direction. You don't need to be a photographer to know that. It's just like, think what naturally comes to your, like feels natural to your eyes. Which is quite ironic because I've got a terrible squint. So like, you've just got to kind of do it feels right for that you. Lighting is extremely important. I don't have a kit or anything. You're talking about your gear. This is my gear. This is all my gear. It cost me £40 a month for unlimited 3G. And that's pretty much what I use. Everyone thinks that I've got like this amazing piece of kit or whatever. I have good lighting in an iPhone. That is literally every single photo that you'll see here, bar the ones I've reposted and things, like are all taken in my iPhone, every single one. And just really clever editing, which you're going to say. So make sure that whenever you're taking your photos, I always like to make sure that my background is as clean as possible. If you have, like, if you're out in the street and, like, you know, you're taking that, like, hey girl selfie, like, with your friends, like, if you've got a really busy background behind you, like, that's when I usually say, oh, that one's for Twitter, because that's just like a kind of candid shot. So try and overanalyze what your background is, because if there's something weird there, people will find it. Like, they will. And the questions can be interesting. Make sure that your caption that you've chosen your caption right and it fits your personality. I always kind of have a slightly tongue-in-cheek approach, because that's just me. And you have to make that, you know, really intense decision of to emoji or not to emoji. I always emoji. There's no escaping the emoji. But I do social media for quite a few of my brands, and I know that that's not right for them specifically. A big tip I would say is before you hit any filter is to edit before you filter. If you think a photo doesn't need editing, you need to look closely, because it does. Every photo, I feel, always needs a little tiny tweak before you put it through. So I know a lot of people who use that Snapseed. I'm actually quite happy with the new iOS update. I edit it mostly on the actual iPhone Photos editor. And then if I need to improve it even more, then I use the Adobe Photoshop app. And then for filters, ViscoCam. And so you can literally keep on buying all your various different filters, but once you find the ones you love, there's no need to invest in anymore. I've got one filter that I love on ViscoCam and another filter that I love straight from Instagram's filter that when they updated it, I think it was in December, it came out, and I'm just like, oh, it's orange. It's so good. So a couple more tips for you. Think about whenever you're taking your picture, don't stand in one spot. They always say, for every selfie there is 60 discarded selfies, and it's so true. But it's the same with every other image that I've ever taken. Always try and move around when you're taking it, and put it up, put it down, stand in a chair, one-legged, literally move about, and then one will just pop out, and you're like, right, okay, so I must have been over here, and you can really kind of capture the right image. But it does take time, it does take patience, but I really, really love the whole process, and I just really enjoy it. So, best apps. Is there any questions? Anybody want to
We're going to do a bit of a Q&A at the end.
Oh,
after
there we go. I'll probably say just before I finish then is that Instagram, I think one thing that people don't talk about is how stressful actually Instagram can be. And it's something that comes across as really sad or whatever, oh, it's just social media, relax or whatever. It is stressful, and I have been known to delete photos because they don't sit nice in my feed, or if I've got one that's like, oh no, actually slightly prefer that picture to the other picture, but the same image, so I delete it for that reason. So it can be anxious, but it can be quite an anxious thing, but as long as you enjoy it, and if you put out that you're enjoying it, and I think that it seems to be with the people who follow me that they seem to quite enjoy it. Apparently orange is the happiest colour, so I think that's why I'm probably one of all my blogger friends who's never received any trolls, and I honestly put it down to the colour orange. So make sure that you've got the main things is making sure that you've got your cohesive colour palette. If you use a lot of blue tones, keep it going that way. Even if it's a lovely hot summer day, put a filter on that. Fine, you'll be absolutely fine. Respond, talk to your followers. ask questions in your captions. Yeah, and just have fun with it. But look forward to some questions because I'm hoping that I've actually told you stuff that he's maybe not. So thank you very much.